What's going on, everyone? Welcome back along to the channel. Welcome back along to some more subscriber series action. We've had 2 rounds completed now, and it is time to look at our second team of the week. A lot to go through here today, so let's dig straight into it. Of course, in the round 1 team of the week, we did miss out any real key stats and things like that because, well, didn't have enough players of playing, didn't have a fair result of everyone playing as well to level out the playing field. So today, we've got a little bit of mixture of some sort of stats to add in to kick off the Team of the Week episode for round number 2. And of course, we have the starting 15 from all 4 clubs coming through the best 15 from that round 2 performance. And then very, very soon, we'll be kicking straight back into the action for our first match of round number 3. But before we get too forward into the stat makers and the leading players from round 2, let's just have a quick recap of the results from the second round, seeing as there was a bit of a break between some of the matches due to my illness, but we are going to be back and thicking into them again in these coming days. So there was 4 games coming out of the round. The All Flakes, they did it tight, didn't they, against Exeter Chiefs, winning that one just 10 points to 7. Sam Coop, the hero, that led his side to victory. The second match was the Guardians of the Crib, who really dismantled the Munster side 24-0, and that was a thrashing for the Guardians, who did that one with ease as well. Interesting though, these matches, 4 games of course, 2 were really close, 2 were blowouts. The third match of the round were the Celtic Dragons up against the Scarlets. Now this one really did shock a lot of people after their first round performance was so emphatic. They never seemed to wake up in their round 2 game, winning just 7 points to 3 over the Scarlets. Not the most convincing display from the newcomers to the championship. And finally, the final match of round 2 was the Cornflakers in action against the Emirates Lions from Super Rugby. That one, yep, there was another blowout, 28-0. The Lions got thrashed. 2 really close tight games, 2 big wins, and another exciting round of the Global Rugby Challenge. So without further ado, let's get straight into it and have a look at some stats. We have 3 categories we're coming up with for today's episode at least. Normally we would have try scorers, the leading try scorers, but when no one scored more than 1 try, it's a bit difficult to really configure who is best and who is worst. So we've gone a little bit outside the square here, and we have gone with line breaks. So we've had a few players who have really led the way of line breaks. Try not to give too big of a list here, so we're generally going with a top 3, top 5 sort of category. But line breaks, a clear-cut signal at the top, comes in the way of the Celtic Dragons talisman and creator. You could call him Steve Tecogs, leading the way with out and out by himself 4 line breaks at the top of the pile. Leading in behind him is Jamali Gino, another returnee from Season 1 from the Cornflakers, who has 3. And alongside him, a newcomer from the All Flakes, also with 3, is Adam Fleetwood. We go further down, another one from the All Flakes, the hero, the saviour of round 2 for the All Flakes, Sam Coop, also with 3 line breaks. So 1 clear leader, a bit of a log jam through the middle, and then it's Andre Miller at the bottom from the Cornflakers, who rounded out with just 2. What's interesting about that first little category of line breaks is that there's no one from the Guardians of the Crib, which I find very, very interesting. A team that's really done it quite easily is struggling along without any real out-and-out leaders as far as line breaks are concerned. Second category we'll have a look at here is point scorers. So this one will follow throughout because this is a key category as well. Goal kickers normally do this pretty well, and surprisingly normally outside backs do as well. But you know, when we look at these Team of the Weeks, I've really struggled first and foremost to put wingers into these teams. These sides really are great back rowers, and they just seem to not get excelling players outside of 12 or 13 in the back line. So amazingly, we have just got a top 3 here for point scorers before we start going into all the people who have scored 1 try. At the top of this, Dom Butler, who leads the way from the Guardians of the Crib, the side we just talked about, with 22 points. Out and out, the leader in this category. Second to him is an All Flakes player, and 2 of the remaining 2 are All Flakes players as well. So the Guardians lead the way with Butler, but it is Pullman, George Pullman, with 15 points from the All Flakes, and of course Sam Coop, who comes in 3rd with 10 points also from the All Flakes. So there's an interesting little category there. What gets even more complex as we go further down into another category that really opens its wide arms for any player to get. And this is one where the forwards do normally dominate, but again, surprisingly, it is full of just about all backline players and the most successful tackles in the competition so far. Leading the way from the subscriber sides is Richard Mokwa with 13 successful tackles, but he's not alone. However, it is Jim Gino who sits right beside him, also on 13 tackles. So that's a man from the Celtic Dragons and a man from the Cornflakers. Amazingly, those two teams are the ones leading most of these stats. Luke de Normanville gets one back for the forwards, and he chimes in from the Guardians with 11 tackles, but he's not to be outdone or sit there alone, because Christian Catley is right beside him also with 11 successful tackles from the All Flakes, who are doing pretty well in these stats considering performance-wise they've been pretty average as well. Two remain. We're going to go with two pretty big players in their opening couple of rounds. It is Andrew Winch and Steve Tekogs, both from the Celtic Dragons, who both sit there with 10 successful tackles. Right, there's a little bit of stats, a little bit of interesting reading for you guys from the opening couple of rounds of the Subscriber Series Season Number 2 Global Rugby Challenge. Now let's get into why we're really here. It is a top 15 from the second round of action. Okay, so let's get into the action of what we're really here to see. It is the Subscriber Series Team of the Week, round number 2. So, of course, you'll know by now, everyone in these 4 teams has played at least one game. Some of you are lucky enough to play 2, but everyone has played at least one. Of course, everyone who missed out in round 2 will be coming in for round 3. So you can guarantee if you miss one game, you'll be back for the next. So everyone should be playing a nice even amount of games. Of course, some sides will have key players and don't have much depth in some positions. Those guys obviously play more, but as we go on, everyone will get to play a lot of games throughout the seasons. Let's get into it. Front row for the team of the week. It is going to be a nice little mixture. Players from the Flakers, the Guardians, and the Dragons is coming one apiece. Lucas Barrett lines up on the loosehead side from the Flakers. Accompanying him in the middle of the front row will be Mike Hunt. Wow, he just got better and better as this game's worn on, didn't he? The Guardians were really on top of that whole game. Big win over Munster, and he also scored a try to boot as well, the little man. But Hunt looks really, really good. He's a captain, he leads on the front, and he has been exceptional for the Guardians so far. On the tight end side, it goes to the man from the Celtic Dragons. It is Sam Nicol. Now, he played both games of the series so far for the Dragons and has been pretty impressive. Hard to pick props from the opening round. They didn't feature too heavily, but I did think Lucas Barrett, of course, scoring the try, and we had Sam Nicol, who was pretty punishing in defence, and his distribution game was quite nice as well. So it was good to see the Nicol boys coming in to the fore for the Celtic Dragons. So that's Barrett, Hunt, and Nicol, the front row for the team of the week. Into the second row, and this was pretty easy to pick up as well. I've gone with Liam Hacker from the Guardians of the Crypt to start at number 4, and Akahata Kamana. This man is already proving to be an icon of the All Flakes and of this whole competition. He has been just phenomenal. I'm talking about Kamana here as well. Hacker in his first game was pretty good, but Kamana really is a step above. Again, another captain who is leading this team right from the 4. And that is exactly what you expect to your captain as well. So Akahata Kamana starting at 5, Liam Hacker starting at 4 from the Guardians, and Kamana from, of course, the All Flakes. So that is good to see those guys stepping it up for their sides. Into the back row, and this is always the most difficult part of a team to pick because there's so much depth in these areas and so many good players that stand up, and this is where the better players seem to be coming from at the moment. So this is really tough, but I'm interested to know if you will agree with me or not on these selections. Now, we've gone with a bit of mix-up of positions because we had 2 standout number 8s. I feel it wasn't fair to leave one of these guys out, so I've got one of them at 6, one of them at 8. So here it is for you. Frederick Loeb, starting at 6 in the team of the week, but really was a standout and almost player of the week from number 8 from the Celtic Dragons. You also give an honourable mention if you were going to leave one of those number 8s out. You would have given the 6 or 7 jumper to Jordi De Rossi, who had a fantastic combination with Frederick Loeb. Those two for the Celtic Dragons were phenomenal, but it's the captain for the Dragons, that is De Rossi, who does miss out on the team of the week this week, but he is a phenomenal leader that does just lift this team very, very nicely as well. His combinations proving very, very strong. So Loeb misses out on 8, but he's still got to be there in that side. 7 is a no-brainer. It's Mark Tommy for the All Flakes. Phenomenal throughout that game. Fast, explosive, strong, very, very difficult man to put down. And him, along with Sam Coop, were the real reasons why the All Flakes won that game. And in number 8, again, between Loeb and this man, it is going to be for Player of the Week. And maybe the guy we got a fly half as well. But it goes to Kieran Jones from the Guardians of the Crib. A monstrous display from the number 8 from the Guardians. He was just destructive. He bulldozed everything within sight, and he was just phenomenal throughout. He got a massive asterisk next to his name when I was putting down notes for who I wanted to be in the Team of the Week from watching that game. I thought he was definitely one of the dominant performers from round number 2. An honourable mention for Matt Sacco as well from the All Flakes. I thought he was pretty good. He got a good little mark up for me as well. But nothing got close to what we've seen from Kieran Jones and Frederick Loeb at number 8 for the Guardians and the Dragons. Right, that's the forward pack. Let's move swiftly on to the back line. Now, scrum half in round 1 was pretty difficult to pick up as well. This time, there's been a standout man, and it was Jim Aligino from the Flakers. He was much better than all other comers. A standout, great display from him. Easy to pick him there. Electric runner, great speed, great pace around the ball. Pickups were quick, recycling the balls quick as well. So Aligino easy dots in there, and he was elusive in this game as well, where the Flakers took out an easy victory over the Lions. Outside him at fly half, the man we spoke of before, Samara Coop. Now, this kid, along with Mark Tommy, but it was Coop that really got the big plaudits for that display. He was the one that scored that try that ultimately led the All Flakes to that slender victory. And of course, his kicking as well, not to be forgotten, was the other reason for getting that little extra over the Exeter Chiefs. They won by 3, 10-7, that's a conversion, that's a penalty, and of course he got the try. That's all 10 points. You notice he was on the leader of the points. That's all he had to do. One game, Sam Coop lines up at 10. Again, unlucky not to get it 2 weeks in a row, but Andrew Inch was once again phenomenal for the Celtic Dragons. He gets the honourable mention next to Samara Coop. Into the midfield. Now, the midfield was a little bit difficult, but the outside backs, I think, very difficult to pick in a week where those 10 players from 1 to 10 dominated pretty much most of the games in the Global Rugby Challenge in round number 2. But 12 and 13, I'm going to go for Nanook Isi from the Flakers, playing the final match versus the Lions, and really his first game, he was quite impressive with his display as well. Honourable mention will go to Simone Dominguez from the Guardians of the Crib. Those two were 50-50, but I've gone with Nanook Isi just to nudge him out in the number 12 jumper. His partner in midfield will once again be Pierre Valentine. This guy is just too hard to stop. He's too hard to put away, and interestingly enough, it is a Flakers partnership in midfield. They were devastating against the Lions, and they were the real reason why they were so good. You notice the team of the week so far, Jim Aligino has been the only other Flaker in this team, alongside Lucas Barrett at loosehead prop. But one forward, but the rest are all backs, 3 backs. So it's unlike the other sides, the Flakers are a team that definitely do well in the back line, whereas other teams dominate in the forward pack. So very interesting differences of teams, but Pierre Valentine, again, very good leader, and he leads his side very, very well. We talked about Dominguez, unlucky to miss out on 12 and 13. You got Tom Guest from the Guardians of the Crib, who was very, very good as well. And from the Celtic Dragons, Bogdan Ola, I thought, had a standout match for the newcomers to the competition. On the wings, we're going to go, and this was pretty hard to pick up as well, because no wingers really had a standout, but we're going to Shane O'Sullivan on the left side from the Celtic Dragons. Kicked pretty well, didn't have too much to do, but he was fairly solid. Could have done a lot more, definitely, for the Celtic Dragons, who weren't at their best. But on a day and on a round where wingers were often very quiet, he just nudges out their left-hand wing. And Elliot Malpass from the Guardians of the Crib, solid player, big game player as well. Just nudges his way in due to lack of any real competition from anywhere else. Malpass was solid. The Guardians put some big points on, and he was often a big link-up man for a lot of the tries. So getting all the try assists, doing everything nicely. Elliot Malpass, we know, again, another returnee, very, very good player. And finally, at fullback, it is one man, Michael Gurin, who lines up with the number 15 jumper from the Flakers. Now again, fullbacks weren't exceptional, but I think what really lined it up here for Gurin was that a lot of the other fullbacks were terrible. We talked about what the All Flakes offered was pretty bad. A lot of their backs, I've got Crosses beside, playing badly, not getting anywhere near the team of the week. So Gurin was solid, didn't do anything wrong, and you got to commend a fullback who doesn't concede a try, has generally done his role pretty well too. So you can't complain about that. Michael Gurin will be the fullback for the team of the week, round number 2. And that is it. That is us done and dusted for another team of the week, the second now of the competition so far. Plenty more matches, plenty more action to come, and I hope you're all enjoying it so far as well. We have our next matchup is coming. The All Flakes are up against Toulon. That will be coming very soon, so keep your eyes out for that. Should be a goodie. But until then, thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts on the team of the week. Anyone unlucky to miss out? Anyone you thought should have been there instead? Or do you agree with what my team of the week is? Which, of course, due to your comments as well, a lot of these guys were aligned straight into the starting 15 for the team of the week. So keep those comments coming, who you think have excelled, and that does go a long way towards contributing to this team of the week. So until next time, thanks for tuning in and watching. Hope you're enjoying the series, and of course, doubly, take care.